Welcome to Make Stuff with Miss Sarah. Today we're going to be making Play-Doh. This Play-Doh is a no-cook recipe. It can be made with things that you can find hopefully already in your kitchen or direct from a grocery store. It does involve hot water, so for that part, parents, you'll need to help out. So, to start with, you're going to need a mixing bowl, some measuring cups and measuring spoons, and a spoon to be able to scoop with. So to begin with, we're going to start by adding all of the dry ingredients together in our mixing bowl. So the first one that we're going to add is general all-purpose flour. And you're going to need a cup and a half. So I'm going to use a spoon and a measuring cup to scoop my flour into this cup. I'm not packing it down, I'm doing it pretty loose, and also maybe making a bit of a mess. And once I've got it sort of piled up at the top, I'm going to use the back of my spoon or the edge of my spoon to scrape off the excess so it's flat, and then I'm going to dump it in my mixing bowl. So that's 1 cup, and now I still need a half. Now, for whatever reason, I only have a 1/4 cup. That's cool, because I can still measure half a cup with that. I'm just going to do 2 of them. So scooping in with my spoon, scraping it off, dumping it. So that was 1. And 2. So, the next thing that we're going to need is salt. This is just regular table salt. And we're going to use half a cup of it. So again, I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to carefully pour it in to my measuring spoon. So that's a 1/4 cup. That's a half a cup. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to need to measure is cream of tartar, which can be found usually in the baking section of your grocery store. It's going to look something like this. And you want 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. So I'm just going to dip it in. Use my finger or a spoon to scrape it off. So that's 1, 2. Okay. So now that I have all of my dry ingredients in my mixing bowl, I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to start to mix them up together. Just a little bit, you don't have to get crazy with it. Okay. Ooh. Just went in my mouth a little bit. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to add to our ingredients is oil. Technically, any type of oil will work. Probably vegetable oil and corn oil will work the best, but whatever you have around the house should work. So for your oil, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. 1, 2, and you're going to add it right to your dry mix. Okay, so this last ingredient you definitely need a little help with if you're a kid. So, you're going to add 1 cup of nearly boiling water. So when I say nearly, it means it should be almost boiled, but not quite. So you can see there's some steam coming off of here. And you're going to eventually have your kids mix this with your hands, which is why you don't want it to be fully boiling. I'm just going to take that and I'm going to carefully pour it in my bowl. And then I'm going to start using my spoon to mix it together. So this is still pretty hot, so I don't want to put my hands in here. So I'm using my spoon to sort of mix things in and get it so it's one nice consistency. Okay, so it's gonna look something like this. So at this point, it's still pretty sticky. So if you want, you can add a little more flour to it. If you find it's too dry, you'd add a little more water. So mine is pretty sticky right now. So I'm just gonna add just a teeny bit more flour into my mix. And it's cooled down enough so that I can touch it without getting burnt. You don't want it to be to the point where it's sticking to your fingers like this. It should be not dry and chunky, but not quite this slick. Okay, and at this point, move this out of the way. You should have something that looks kind of like this. And you can either call it good, or if you want, you can add food coloring to make it different colors. Like here I have some orange, and here I have kind of a weird purple. So if you want to add colors, you're going to use food coloring. When you're using food coloring, you're going to roll your Play-Doh into a big bowl like this, and then you're going to poke kind of a hole in the center. And you're going to keep it in your bowl because this is probably going to get a little messy. And then you're going to add 5 to 10 drops. So this one I'm going to try to make blue. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when you're mixing this, if you use your hands like I am doing, it is going to end up on your hands, but warm water and soap and a little bit of scrubbing will get it off. But be mindful that it does have the potential to stain your clothes and any work surface that you're on, so just be aware of where you're working. You can see that I'm starting to get kind of this nice blue color. If I want it to be darker, I need to add more food coloring and keep working it in. But I would only do it 5 to 10 drops at a time, just because it can get really messy if you're not careful. If you don't want to add color to it, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with having it like this. So once you have your Play-Doh made and you are satisfied with its color, with its consistency, then you just need to put it in some sort of airtight container, and it should be good to play with for quite a while. Hope you all have fun.